Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Poison Point Podcast. This is our very, very first episode. I'm super, super excited to bring it to you guys. Our podcast is going to be uploaded every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'll have different guests each week discussing a variety of Pokemon topics, games, anime, TCG, history, and maybe even some trivia stuff. So we'll kind of see how it goes. The trivia could maybe just be a special episode. I think that might be something fun to do. So today we got three amazing guests, all from different parts of the world. We're going to start with my boy Lewchube. He's a content creator for YouTube. So go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us who your favorite Pokemon is.
Oh God, you really put me on the spot here. Hi, I'm Lewis. I obviously go by Lewchube. I'm a designer that makes pretty analytical videos on the Pokemon series and its game design as well as its general production behind the scenes. That's where most of my knowledge is at. You might have seen me from my Sinnoh remake video that got a stupid amount of views, or from my art or other content that gets posted on Twitter, and I'm happy to have been invited. My favorite Pokemon? I mean, it feels too obvious to say Mewtwo. I think Azelf and Spiritomb are in there as well. They're like my top three, so it's very hard to decide. But thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, man, I appreciate your time. Spiritomb is one I haven't really heard from. I don't think I've heard Spiritomb very much from anyone, so that's pretty cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I like to hear that. All right, Ant, you're up. Go ahead and tell us. So I met Ant on Twitter. We've been friends for a few years now. So he's joining the podcast with us. Go ahead and tell us about yourself.
Hey y'all, it's your boy EFOctony, aka Mr. Twitter Fingers, aka Mr. Unpopular Opinion, aka Mr. Don't Mince Any Words. So,
who's your favorite
Pokemon? A little bit about me. Sorry, go ahead.
Who's your favorite Pokemon?
Favorite Pokemon would be, I don't know, I have too many of them, but some of my top favorites would be like Azumarill, Gengar, maybe Aegislash. But yeah, those are like
some good taste.
Top favorites.
Yeah, for sure. Those I like Aegislash too. Actually, that was like one of my favorite Gen 6 Pokemon when X and Y first came out. I was like, a literal shield and sword. That's super awesome.
Listen, man, I just like Pokemon that can hit hard, okay?
Yeah, Aegislash definitely does that. All right, and last but not least, we got my buddy Uzi.
What's up? The name's TheUziGunner, but you guys can call me Uzi. I'm the guy that makes that now is sorry. Oh God, wow. I'm the only person that's stumbling upon my words. Yeah. Hi. So basically, I'm the guy that makes analytical videos when it comes down to making proper videos about the Pokemon Adventures manga. Now, I used to do draft format, and I was also a competitor in the WBE. And yeah, like I'm now pretty much at this point where I'm really stepping up on everything I do. And yeah, subscribe to my channel. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say.
Definitely. So you can follow all these awesome people on Twitter. I'll have their Twitter handles and stuff and their YouTube channels in the description. But yeah, you definitely follow them on Twitter. They follow me as well. So if you guys listen and follow me, go ahead and you can creep through my profile or whatever and give them a follow and definitely subscribe to their content. So yeah, that's everybody we got right now. And like I said, as we go through each different episode and each different topic we talk about, we'll have different guests because there's just a lot of people that know a lot of different stuff. So it's going to be exciting to have a lot of different people on. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So this episode primarily is going to be about, we got Pokemon Unite up first, then we got Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and we'll end it with the most anticipated of the three, Legends of Arceus for sure.
Is that true? I'm pretty excited for Pokemon Unite.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of buzz about it for sure, but I think people, when they're thinking like, all right, I can't wait to play a game, I think Legends of Arceus is no doubt like in the back of people's minds for sure.
I don't know. I think I know more about Pokemon Unite, so I can talk more about it than Legends of Arceus.
Yeah, I never thought we'd get to a point. Well, hell, we'll just hop right into it. All right, Pokemon Unite. So I think it's hilarious that we know more about a mobile game, Pokemon game, than we do about the two mainline games. I'm not sure if that's ever happened before, but the journey's been interesting, right? So last summer they announced Pokemon Unite. Everyone was anticipating I think it was like Let's Go 2 or something. Everyone was hyping that up, and then it kind of turned.
Stupid.
Yeah, and then it kind of, because there was a trailer with some plushies and stuff in the background, and everyone's like, "Oh, Let's Go Johto 2," and then
Johto confirmed.
Yeah, it was pretty comical, and then we get Pokemon Unite. So there were some people very salty about that. But anyways, so that was announced, and then the following month, I believe, actually, we had like a demo gameplay. Mr. Ishihara and a few others, like popular content creators in Japan, hopped on there and kind of showed us how the game's played. And really, ever since that month, I want to say it was like July or something, it's kind of led up to this point, and just last month we actually got the majority of our news that we have, and we're actually anticipating a release here this month. We're freaking at 10 July, so got to be coming soon. So Lewchube, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on Pokemon Unite? What are your, how do you forecast the game being, moving forward in the future? Do you think it's going to be Pokemon Go level big, or do you think we're kind of being that middle range?
The game is in Japanese, so that's where my expertise ends. Yeah, I don't know. Unite was fun. I was very surprised when I played it about how like competent it was. I know that obviously, I don't know Timmy's work in particular as much as I do obviously with like Game Freak or whoever works on Pokemon nowadays. But usually, I've played League for 9 years, so my brain rot has reached critical mass. And I don't know. I enjoyed Unite. It was fun. I don't think it's perfect, but obviously I was playing at 400 ping because it was, the Japanese servers, and I'm excited to play it when it comes out when I finally have the time.
So how did it feel while you were playing it? I mean, obviously you control the character, and it looks kind of slow, but I guess like that, your characters can be accelerated, because I was watching some gameplay and people started moving faster. And does it feel clunky? Is it more like pretty smooth? How does it feel while you're playing it?
I mean, I have no idea because it was on like 400 ping. So I would play in like training mode. I was like, wow, I love this game. And then I would go up and play against other people, and it was like, wow, I can't control anything. Obviously that's gonna be fixed. But yeah, no, it's great. It's fast. It's like 10 minutes. Your average MOBA games typically are a bit longer than that. So it feels nice for like a short play session. I have a few favorite characters. I think that it's a pretty deep topic that I'm not too qualified to speak on, because I'm pretty shit at MOBAs, but I do enjoy them a lot. As I've said, I've put thousands of hours in the League, and yeah, Unite impressed me in a weird way, and I wasn't like unimpressed by it before. It's just like, wow, like this is better than I thought it was going to be, which is always nice.
Yeah, I mean it's Pokemon makes money with anything you throw it on, so they probably saw what was going on with League of Legends. And other games of that format. Obviously, Pokemon Go year to date has made $5 billion. That's B billion. So just been overly successful. I mean, adults play it, kids play it, teenagers play it. I'm sure dogs are playing it at this point. Like everyone plays Pokemon Go, and I'm sure they're just trying to get their hand in that pot for sure. Uzi, do you have any initial thoughts? What did you think when you saw the trailer?
So I found it funny that there were so many dislikes in the Pokemon Unite video that I saw when the trailer got dropped. So it was so bad to the point that they had to re-upload that shit again. I don't know why.
Oh my god, they did that. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. I completely forgot about that.
It was so fucking funny. But even that shit also got disliked hard. But yeah, if I'm being completely honest, it was something I was always really apathetic about, because it's not really the kind of stuff I'm into. But it's nice to see that, after an entire year of radio silence from them, which I believe was the right play after such levels of backlash, the people have, been able to go past their salty stages and are now more willing to see it exactly for what it is. And going by how Lewis is saying it, it's nice to see that it's not really a low effort garbage tier game, and something that people can actually enjoy out of it. So in that aspect, I'm happy for the others that will play this. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I like Cinderace with those boots and that pirate.
I fucking hate Cinderace. Jesus Christ. Absolutely. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna get to talk about like specific characters, if we're gonna have time, but absolutely the most obnoxious character in that game. Holy shit. They are hard shilling Cinderace. It's insane. They have like a legendary skin. Yeah, they have a legendary skin. They have they have like 2 passives. I think they have like Charizard's passive and their own, and it's just like, oh my god, and they're like the best Pokemon at kiting in the game. It's so stupid. But yeah, carry on. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to talk, if you want to talk about any of the characters that maybe you've just seen play, or ones in particular, like I was watching gameplay of Greninja, I was a little taken back by kind of like how lackluster Greninja seemed, because everyone stands Greninja. It's just like one of those things. I thought he was going to be super OP. Same with Charizard, actually. Charizard appears to be pretty mid-tier in terms of capability. But I heard Cramorant and who's the other one? Cramorant and Wigglytuff were actually pretty tough. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just impossible for people to gauge like character viability because everyone's playing at a 400 ping. So
Yeah.
you know, there's just no way to accurately be like, hey, this character's good, hey, this character isn't. But I can say that some of the kits that they have, definitely very, very obnoxious.
So if you're out there and you're interested in Pokemon Unite and it's something that you kind of want to learn about, I mean, we can shed a little bit of light on it. So there are characters you select from. Each one has like a different type of ability and movesets. Your Pokemon do temporarily evolve during the match itself. It's not a permanent evolution, so that's kind of how that plays out. And then as you go, the point of the game is, knock out as many Pokemon as you can, whether it's wild or the opposing players. They drop this stuff called Aeon Energy. You deposit the Aeon Energy into the other person's goal, and you score points. The one with the most points at the end wins. And then there are held items as well. So I think you can hold up to 3 items per mon. And then there are also support items like potions and stuff, I believe.
Yeah, they're like a passive type thing that you.
Yeah. So there are definitely
or a mastery with League.
I can definitely see there being a lot of strategic ways that you can play each character. Obviously 3 held items gives you a lot of different things to do. And then there's also skins too, like so you can customize your character. I think it was Lucario or someone wearing a snorkel. There's just
that was Snorlax, right?
Yeah, maybe. I've seen a lot of different pictures and stuff. I was on their website earlier just kind of looking at it. But yeah, you can actually customize your characters, whichever one you pick, which is really cool. So there will be in-game purchases as well. So it's obviously free to play. You don't actually have to purchase the game on Switch or any other platform. And if you want to make in-app purchases, then you can definitely do that. I was surprised though, guys, that this game was coming out for Switch first than the actual mobile device.
I mean, like, this is my first time playing a console MOBA. And I was getting to grips with it. But I mean, because I know you said before they had like no news, maybe as a result of like backlash from like the Western side of the fan base. But I know that there was like a closed mobile beta, wasn't there, for like a while?
Yeah, there was an open beta. I couldn't tell you the time frame, to be honest. I know there was one obviously recently. If you had a Japanese version Switch, you could play it. And then I think they may have had like a very short closed. Was it an alpha? It may have been an alpha build. I'm not sure, but maybe.
Yeah, it was very, very early. Like to the point where people just weren't allowed to show gameplay from it. But it didn't look too different to what I played like last month. So.
Yeah, everything looked pretty similar, especially in terms of the way that it played. I know, like you said, it was a very limited capacity in which like you could kind of get a feel for everything. But the concept seems really cool. I've never played a MOBA either. Like I honestly didn't even know what MOBA stood for. I had to look it up like 2 months ago. I'd obviously heard of League of Legends, but I never played League of Legends either. So I was like, all right, it's Pokemon, right? So I will try it. But now I'm kind of dialing it back. Like I'm not sure if I'm actually going to play it or not. I don't know. I'll have to see.
I don't know how you've avoided MOBAs for so long.
I don't know. I guess it's just because I've been so hell-bent on playing just other types of games like Final Fantasy. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, so those take up a lot of your time. I was in Assassin's Creed series for a while. My focus just wasn't on mobile stuff. I just never really been a mobile gamer or anything like that. But I think it's just evolved so much. Like I have an iPad now. I can go downstairs and play that, or my Switch, obviously. So it may be a time burner thing for me. I may just download and play it every once in a while. I don't think I'm going to be super crazy about it.
Yeah, I think the thing with Unite that's really fascinating is that, again, I've never played a mobile or a console MOBA. And I know that is very true for a lot of people in Japan as well. Because obviously, like Korea, like League, like games like League, Dota, they are very, very big in places like Korea, Europe, etc., like North America. But Japan, they're not really a PC gaming kind of culture. It's taken them a while to get into that. So I think like this is going to be like both China's like exposure to Pokemon in a weird way, not counting the Pokemon Quest massive update that happened recently, and also the like the Japanese market's introduction to like a MOBA with like a huge franchise behind it. So I think it's really fascinating in that regard, and it's why I was kind of a little mad when people were shitting on it because it was in a remake in a bit, but like people are shitting on it, and it's like, you know, it might not be for you, but just because it wasn't, you know, this big thing that you really, really expected, because of some toys in the background, you know, doesn't mean that it's bad.
What? Are you telling me Let's Go Johto didn't come? I saw the plushies in the back. I saw the blurry background. This is bullshit. Ishihara cheated us.
I was having a heart attack.
I mean, and we're not going to get on the whole Let's Go series. That will be another episode. But the concept of a Let's Go 2 game, and assuming it's got improvements and stuff like that. I mean, it's funny where we're at now, because when you look at 2018, Let's Go initially was received pretty well, and then as we got more and more, it was kind of like, and then ever since then, it's kind of been shat on. So the idea of the fact that people were legitimately excited for a Let's Go 2 game when they literally said, what, a year or two before, fuck Let's Go. It's just funny how everything kind of like shifts. You know, it's like the Sword and Shield graphics thing. You know, people shit on Sword and Shield's graphics, and then it's like, I want Gen 4 and Sword and Shield's graphics, and it's like, dude, you just said 3 months ago, like.
I'm pretty sure those are different people. Those are definitely different people.
To add to Lewis's point, here's the thing: the reason why we have such level of variety is because that's how big the community is. There are different demographics and different types of people that are into different kind of things. Which is why, you know, there's always this discourse of, you know, this gen is good, this gen sucks, Generation 5 best, Gen 7 horrible or something, whatever. But that's the thing, like, because of how big this community is, there are these different types of that's why, you know, there's such a strong level of variety. Like, for me, I'm going to say the way I generally think it is. I think Let's Go was shit the moment I saw it. It was shit the moment I played it. And I still would prefer it to never exist unless it's in the hands of another company, so that Game Freak can, you know, put more time in on their other mainline games. So
that's such a loaded take. I know I'm not here to talk about Let's Go, but I disagree with like everything you just said.
Yeah, I don't want to say I disagree with everything, because I definitely see where you're coming from. But I know Anthony, how do you feel about? Tell us how you feel about Let's Go, real quick.
It's becoming about Let's Go.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna hush.
Okay. Yeah.
No, you gotta say it now. You gotta say it now. You can't just say that.
Listen, man. They knew exactly what they were doing when they made Kanto for the 5th time. All right.
Only the 3rd time. Okay, I'm gonna be honest.
No, they've made it for the 5th time.
Are you not calling Gen 2 GSC Kanto actual Kanto? Okay, there was no Viridian Forest, dog. What are you saying?
It's still Kanto, my guy.
That was like 5% of that experience. I don't want to hear it.
All right, I'll circle it back. Let's get back on Unite real quick.
Yeah.
Because we're coming up on the end of that discussion anyways. But
Let's Go, yes.
Yeah, well, that will definitely be an episode, because I think that'll be a lot of fun to talk about. But Pokemon Unite, so we got that coming. I'm gonna assume let's start guessing release dates, right? I'm gonna assume not next week, the following week, we'll get something for Pokemon Unite. I don't know if they'll shadow drop it, but I think they may give us a small heads up and just say, hey, it's coming out July 22nd. I have no idea what day that was. That was completely random, so don't, you know, start spamming hate comments. It's a Sunday! No, okay. But I'm just saying it could be a few weeks maybe, but I don't know. What do you guys think for a release date for Unite?
We could delay it. I mean, it's like a MOBA, and like it was just after a stress test, so they could just delay it to fix things.
Well, the Pokemon community is very big on delaying things. Delaying automatically equals greatness to the Pokemon community, so I guess that would be a good thing to most people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like itching to play it, because it's still just like it's a very basic MOBA. I don't really have too much to say on it because I haven't been able to play it properly, and I don't think anybody really has unless you live in Japan. But like judging from that stress test, if they don't already have servers like fully ready, I can imagine that maybe in the next week or so, from when this episode comes out, they'll probably do a Western stress test, and then release it maybe the middle of August. But that's, you know, provided it gets delayed. Who knows? They could just release it like tomorrow. It really wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah, Uzi, how are you feeling about a release date? What are you feeling?
Honestly, I'm gonna level with you all real quick. I don't care enough.
I was gonna say that. But I was like, damn, that's kind of cold.
Hey,
No, like I'm keeping it real here. Like I genuinely hope anybody else who's into this kind of stuff enjoys it to the fullest and gets it at a time they're happy with. But yeah, this is just not for me. This game could die and I could honestly not give a shit. So
You should play it. It's fun. I recommend. Honestly, it seems like a very good baby's first MOBA. And also, there's no chat. I think on the console version, so you can't get flamed, which is a good thing.
well, that's why you got Nintendo's online chatting service. It's just so great, so you can use that.
You don't even need
download the
to.
app on your cell phone.
You don't even need to. I think they're removing that, by the way.
They are? Yeah.
I think I saw an article that they were moving it from Splatoon or whatever. Maybe because the third one's coming out. Who fucking knows? But I think with Unite you don't even need Nintendo Online, right?
That's nice.
To play it because it's like crossplay.
Yeah,
So I don't think you
talk
need
about
Nintendo
being
Online.
desperate.
I mean, they know that game is gonna get like 1 million downloads day one. Okay, they don't need to pander. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
sensitive. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And how you feeling about Unite? I know you don't care about the game, but when do you think it's going to come out?
Is it too late for them to get a refund? Like
Refund
cancel?
on what? dog?
Listen,
That game is
trying
for
to-
free.
It is a
I'm not
free
trying
game.
to ride on Uzi's bandwagon, but I really don't give a shit about the game. I think the marketing was horrendous when they revealed it. I mean, you gotta remember, when they revealed it, they revealed new Pokemon Snap, which people asked for like 20 years. And then
Oh,
to
God.
reveal that the week after, come on, man. You guys should have known better.
Yeah,
Well-
I'd say they really botched the announcement.
The
I mean,
Pokemon-
I think they lived up to the announcement perfectly fine, right? They're like, wow, this is a new big like business venture for the series, and it was. Like as I said
Yeah.
before, it's gonna do like so well in China and Japan, and especially like the West where MOBAs are already pretty accepted. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that like the way they handled it was good. Maybe it was
Yeah.
just it didn't come across very well because Pokemon fans are so volatile. But I've said this for years. So.
Yeah.
I think as far as follow up goes, they definitely made the right marketing move and just being quiet and just letting things just cool down over before going on from there. Yeah, they adapted. So props to them.
Well, hell, I think I'm the only one who threw a date out there, so I'll go with July 22nd. That actually is indeed a Tuesday, so I guess it's possible. But like you said, I really, like Lou said, I really don't think it honestly matters when they drop it. I think they're just gonna say, "Oh, here it is," and then you're gonna play it or you're not gonna play it. I'm not too big on Tencent as a game developer, just based on some things I've read too. So I'm probably gonna veer away from it mostly. But yeah, I hope the people that actually are really pumped for it actually enjoy it. I hope you guys have a good time with it. And we're going to shift topics here. We're going to go to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So obviously these games were announced earlier this year in honor of the 25th anniversary of Pokemon. They were initially received with a literal quotation, "What the fuck is that?" Because the chibi models right away
fucking
threw
God.
people off. And it was
Oh my fucking God. I mean, look, okay, if you're watching this fucking video, I'm gonna be a huge narcissist. You've already seen my video, okay? You know what my opinions are, and I feel like I speak for a lot of people.
Including me.
Yeah, this game, it looks like shit. I mean, obviously there's some big news that happened recently that I'd love to talk about, but I mean, what like, I have no idea where to begin with this game. Like, there is so much to say, and I already like made a whole hit piece about it.
And we're going to fire into that in just a second. And then after BDSP was revealed, we had Legends of Arceus, which kind of was like, okay, well, why didn't we just get a remake with that style? There was a lot being talked about right there. So Legends of Arceus is obviously still predicated in Sinnoh, a prequel type game to Sinnoh, like way back in the day. So when BDSP was first announced, people were very, 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 very mixed on the concept. And then as we moved along, because there hasn't really been any news on it since, there have been numerous freelance graphical people who have put out videos or game videos of like their version of what Gen 4 remake should have looked like. That caused a whole shit show because people were like, that's what they should look like. So that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. So I'll go ahead. Lewchube's ready to just jump out of the microphone right now. So go ahead and tell us what you want to say about BDSP.
Okay, like we need to break this down because there's been like a lot of news that have come out about this game. not like direct trailers, obviously, but like small things like the box art, the release date, the initial trailer, the eShop update, and obviously the very recent like Switch OLED shit. But we can get into that. To talk about those like fan projects, I mean I'm a huge fan of like all like fan projects. I think that they should all be supported. And I think that that shit's usually really cool just from like a creative perspective. It's like, wow, you put so much time into something, and people are enjoying it. However, that one guy that is just making like videos in like Blender, his intent wasn't to make like a game, right? Like these are just things in After Effects, and people being like, this should be like how a Cinema remake looks. It's like that is, I'm sorry, but it's just not feasible. If you want to, give the game like 7 years of development time, sure, maybe, but it's just not feasible right now, and it's such a stupid conversation.
So in terms of how the games look, so that's what we want to talk about first. In terms of how the games look, so we had the trailer initially. It was the colors were, it was actually very bright and kind of like thrown at your face. And then when the new OLED Switch came out, or excuse me, was just announced a few days ago, there appeared to be there was gameplay footage of what looked to be something that looked extremely different than what we saw. People can say it's minor, but when you put into consideration the OLED screen with really what we saw, you can envision what that would look like on handheld, especially if you've played the old Vita that had the OLED screen. You can imagine how it's going to look color-wise and stuff like that. So how do you guys think the game looked when we saw it in the OLED trailer for the new Switch?
I mean, maybe I have the most to say on this. I don't know. But so in May, I noticed, well, I didn't notice, a Japanese YouTuber that I watch. He, and obviously I don't really understand his videos too much. I'm learning, trust me. But he like made a video that was like, oh, there have been like slight changes, and I was DMing with him, and I was like, where did you get this image from? He was like, oh, the Japanese eShop. So it turns out they've released a new image of the game, like stealthily on the Japanese eShop. And this was from May of 2021, which was when the image was uploaded. I don't know when it was taken. And it looked worse. Like the game was like brighter, and it was like the colors were even more fucked, and it was insane. And then obviously the OLED shit happened, and it's just such a relief that the game looks so much better. Like I am like hats off, honestly. I hope they, again, the narcissist in me is like, oh, I hope they saw my video, because it's just like it's an improvement to one area of the game. I'll say that. But like the colors looking better, the textures just being so much better. Lucas's model being far more like competent he actually has like a model bag now instead of just like an egg on his shoulders. The way the camera pans around, the post-processing, it looks phenomenal by comparison. Still not great, but it looks a lot better. Now they need to fix the other like 90% of the game. I'll be happy.
Yeah, we'll get more on that hopefully, in the next 3 months. That's kind of when it's coming out. So Uzi, what do you think about the game? What are your initial thoughts on BDSP?
They replaced the tree. Nintendo finally hired this man.
The tree guy. The tree man. He's solely responsible for making sure the trees look good.
Yeah. Wait, so you're asking me about how I think about the game and how it looked? Sorry. You're asking about how I think about the game's looks, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm mirroring Lewis's sentiment in the fact that, everything that was shown in the Switch OLED trailer in regards to how the game looks now, how it operates and everything, it was a huge, huge sigh of relief for me, because honestly, I started laughing when I saw BDSP's trailer for the first time.
Oh my god, it was so embarrassing. Like I was because when I saw this, because obviously like the presentation was segmented from like BDSP, and then they showed Legends Arceus. And I was like, because I didn't know which one Game Freak was making at that point, and I was like, holy fuck. Like, there's just no way the Game Freak is making this game. Like, it looks worse than Let's Go. Like, in battle, which is insane to me.
Exactly. Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, what? Just look at Dawn's face. Even in the battle, like, compared to how she would look like in, I don't know, like, Masters or something, it was just rough around, man. Yeah. Lewis posted it in his server, which you can join, by the way. There's a free plug. Yeah. And Yeah, like honestly, it was really, really disheartening, really disheartening to see how the game looked like the moment I saw it. I have even more opinions on the base game itself, but I'm gonna wait for that until we transition into that specific topic. But yeah, as far as how it looks right now in the battle scene, I'm honestly really, really happy to see it take such a drastic shift. I'm not exactly sure if this is because of the Switch OLED screen or anything. I would definitely want to see how it looks right now in the next trailer that we end up seeing. But assuming that these sort of radical changes are being made, I really hope this also extends to the overworld as well. And if that's done, seriously, mad props to them. And yeah, I'll leave the rest of my opinions until we transition into that topic.
Yeah, we're going to get that very, very shortly. So, Ant, how do you feel about the way the game looked when we saw it versus how it looks now?
I think the game looks now. It looks it's definitely an improvement. Like the colors were a little oversaturated in the first trailer. Maybe an unpopular opinion. I saw a lot of people complaining about the Pokemon not having outlines, but I actually prefer them without the outlines.
Yeah,
But,
because no, I completely agree. Like, I think when it comes to Pokemon, so obviously the Gen 6 and 7 games had more of a cell shaded approach to how like they textured the models. Now they don't really need to do that because they don't need to compromise on detail like as much. So yeah, it makes sense for them to not be outlined anymore. But I think the trainer models definitely need it.
Yeah.
I think the outlines, like without them, they just look more natural. So that was something I kind of liked. But as far as the most recent trailer, I was kind of surprised when I saw the text for like the battle sequence. It just looked kind of off to me, but maybe that's just my opinion.
Oh no, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. They're like trying to replicate the pixel, like the text box is like a 1-to-1 recreation from Diamond and Pearl, but like the text itself is like trying to emulate pixel text, and it just doesn't look good. Granted, it's not as bad as Barry's like thud, which legitimately made my jaw fucking drop when I saw it in the trailer in the first one. I was like, holy shit, this is terrible.
Well, and you know why they did that? It was an obvious callback to, they're trying to like, oh my god, nostalgia. Game Freak plays off nostalgia. That's like their drug. They don't drink coffee. They drink nostalgia in the morning. That's just like what they do. That's just. But I mean, my overall thoughts, honestly, like Gen 4 is my favorite. Those of you who followed me a while know that. Generation 4 is by far. I've been anticipating these remakes for such a long time, much more so than ORAS. And when I saw the game, I was just kind of like, because typically what happens, right, with the remake? So Gen 4 not being the example because Heart Gold Soul Silver looked a lot like the original like Diamond and Pearl and Platinum games, but when you go from like Gen 3 to ORAS, right, there's obviously it's new graphics, it's on the 3DS, it's it's a step forward. So a lot of people saw Bdsp remake going a huge step backward because it's not really an improvement. You literally just made it look like the old game with 3D aesthetics, and so people were very conflicted on
it just looks worse.
It does.
Yeah,
it just looks worse than regular Diamond and Pearl because obviously it was supposed to be like an abstraction, but like I mean again I made a whole video on this, but it's just so like why did they feel the need to go back? Like there are some parts of Gen 4 that I think would be legitimately impossible to do in 3D without a redesign. Stark Mountain, it was funny because right before the announcement, like 3 days before the direct, like the initial one in February for Pokemon Day, I was like, how the fuck are they going to do Stark Mountain in 3D? Because it's literally all just like one tile, like wide hallways, and now I know they're just not going to change it at all, and it's going to look terrible.
Yeah, the only thing they did right in that trailer to me was the water. When you're with Professor Owen and you're walking out, the water actually looked really good at the lake. But really, I mean, that's it. And the hands of the characters are eerily creepy, and they need to change the hands.
It's like they gave up with the chibi model halfway through. It's like, holy shit.
I'd rather them just have nubs, just like no hands. Just do like the Animal Crossing thing, and just have nubs. Like
it's like they were trying to emulate a Meat Canyon video. And I don't know if any of you guys watched that, but that's some spooky shit right there.
It's just such like a weird aesthetic choice. It's like you're trying to make the game look like the original Diamond and Pearl, and like, okay, shit idea, in 3D, but like, you're gonna copy everything but how the hands look. Like the hands were just kind of like barely visible. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Well, and it's
Yes.
interesting. We know why they did it because obviously, Ilka's creating it. They're the developers, and Masuda's the directors. I think people were seemingly forgetting that conveniently. And then Legends of Arceus is the Game Freak game, right? So you have one generation split into two entirely different games. So they wanted two different art directions to distinguish the two, because if both games looked like Legends of Arceus, people would be thoroughly fucking confused. So that's really the main reason why, maybe not that art style, but the reason why the two are different, because when you market them, you obviously want them to say, hey, buy this game, hey, buy this game. And Masuda's even talked about in the past, in like one of his interviews, he said, we want people, for Let's Go, he said, we want people to walk into their room, their parents, and know they're playing Pokemon when they look at the screen. So it's obviously something they're very keen on from a visual perspective. So in terms of development, though, we're going to shift to that a little bit. Features and stuff like that, how are you guys feeling about, are we going to have like the Platinum Pokedex? We've seen, the Gracidia Flower Chick. We've seen that.
No.
You guys just think it's going to be a pure one-to-one?
It's just going to be Diamond and Pearl.
It's just going to be Diamond and Pearl, and that's it?
Yes. No, the Gracidia shit is so funny to me, because people are like, oh, we got the Gracidia Girl flower that. And it's funny because the person that like brought that to like Twitter's attention, the tweet blew up. They like found themselves in my server like a month later, and they were like, "Oh my god, I regret tweeting this so much." Yeah, and it's like, it's so funny because it's just like, okay, so the Gracidia Girl is there. Aside from the fact that Shaman Sky has to be like mandated in every single Pokemon game that it's in, right, after Platinum. So ignoring that, obviously they're gonna put that in. But like Jubilife City looks the same. All the character designs are from Diamond and Pearl. Like all. Like there's no snow everywhere, so it can't be like why would they have every single Platinum feature if like half of the game doesn't look like Platinum at all? Obviously it's a Diamond and Pearl remake, but it's just like, oh god. I mean, obviously I want stuff from Platinum. I want it to be better than Platinum, but as it stands, they haven't shown anything that's like that shows that it's gonna have anything Platinum related.
Yeah, Pokemon Platinum is my favorite game of all time. So like, for them to, it would be really strange, because Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire didn't have the Battle Frontier. It's a whole different conversation, but it did have the Delta episode to kind of give tribute to Emerald. Rayquaza got some love and things like that. So I just find it really hard to believe they would do a Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl remake with no Distortion World, or like no Giratina event or Darkrai event, or maybe that's what Legends of Arceus is for, and maybe Lewchube's right, and we just literally get the 1-to-1, and then Legends of Arceus, we get to go in this ultra distortion fucking world and see Giratina fuck things up and destroy shit, and maybe that's what that game's for, but I don't know.
I have some complex opinions on Giratina, Sinnoh, the Distortion World, and whatever, but I don't know if I would want that. Yeah, it's, I don't know. In regards to BDSP, it's just disappointing. Like, I think the reason why myself and so many other people, obviously I don't want to speak for everyone here, but the reason why myself and so many other people think that it's just going to be Diamond and Pearl stuff is because this is the longest that we've gone. Currently, we're recording this on the 10th of July, and currently this is the longest that we've gone without getting like solid new trailer or news information in a Pokemon game cycle, period, I think. Maybe ignoring like Gold and Silver when that got its like delay or whatever. But it's just like from its announcement till now, like this is the longest period we've gone, definitely in recent memory. And it's kind of insane to me that like if you wanted to show that it was Platinum shit or anything new, you would have shown it by now.
Well, there's definitely a reason for that, though, because Legends of Arceus obviously comes out January 28th of 2022, so they want to market the games closer to Legends of Arceus release date rather than, because typically, say Legends of Arceus didn't exist and the game was just coming out in November, there's no doubt in my mind we would have had something on BDSP for sure, 100%. But because of Legends of Arceus, they want to market the game closer to that date because obviously, you know, they probably don't want to show all of Legends of Arceus now because then people will be like, oh, like kind of like Sun and Moon, how it was just like trailer every 2 weeks. So I think Legends of Arceus is definitely having an impact on what it is that we're seeing, and that's why there's this. I don't think Unite's playing too much of a role in that. I think it's just, hey, let's kind of hold back until we're closer to like maybe August, and then go from there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Or there's not much of substance to show in the game. Just saying.
Yeah, like it just comes off as so like weirdly unconfident. Like this is the 25th anniversary. And yet
Exactly.
the remakes that people have wanted for like 10 years are getting thrown under the bus for this very experimental game that we also don't know anything about. I feel like regardless, like we should know at least something. Like we shouldn't have to look at Japanese eShop screenshots to see any like change. It's so it's just really absurd to me. And like the box art doesn't count. That I wish we didn't know what those looked like. But the box art doesn't fucking count.
Thank God.
It's noobs.
So Uzi, how are you feeling about the features of the two games? Like, do you think it's going to be a very generic 1-to-1? Like, what do you think is going to be different about the games?
So this take is gonna be another very loaded one, but I actually compiled my thoughts, so this is gonna be really organized. And before I get into this, I just want to preface to anybody that's listening to me right now when I say that if you're into this type of shit, good for you. Do not consider me disagreeing with you being akin to you not being able to sleep at night. I'm not that important. Stop putting priority in other people's opinions so much, please. All right, get over yourselves. So, this is just my take on it, but I believe 1-to-1 remakes are the most uninspired form of remakes. You make a game on a modern hardware for the sake of making the vision you would have expected when crafting the game back then with maximized hardware capability come to life. Basically, you know, like how something like original Final Fantasy VII would look like it ended up looking like that because that was the best they could do. This was the maximum capability of what it would look like on the PS1, and now it is being reimagined. Granted, there are liberties being taken, but despite that, this is exactly what you would see now on a modern hardware with, you know, full capabilities, all that kind of stuff. This is not that. This is simply being regressive for the sake of being regressive. Remakes, in my opinion, should fix the flaws of the original and take necessary liberties to elevate it to completely new heights, fixing the issues of the old one while simultaneously, you know, like helping it stand on its own, create its own identity as a result. This game, from what I see so far, it doesn't even bother. It's just something to cater. It's just something to cater to people who, in my honest opinion, are just wearing rose-tinted nostalgia goggles.
I mean, the thing is, it's like why would anybody buy this? Like, I don't understand. Like, do you not know how to emulate? Like, any phone can play Diamond and Pearl, you know?
Exactly, and that's the thing. Like, in the beginning of this podcast, I shat on Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and honestly, in the grand scheme of things, I don't like the game that much. That's how I honestly feel. But as far as the looks go, it was able to stand on its own. It's a unique it's despite every map being pretty much the exact same and all that kind of stuff, it was still basically seeing Kanto in a different light because of the unique art style. And people are out here trying to compare BDSP to Link's Awakening and all, which I'm sorry to say that being chibi does not make them the same. Especially when
God. Such a dumb comparison.
Yeah, it's such a horrible comparison. Another thing that Lewis says in his video, you should totally watch it. But yeah, it's basically like what Link's Awakening did was basically change the art style, and take a different approach, which they committed to, thereby creating a different look, and at the same time, changing the entire tone of the game as a result. This game is just like, oh well, we were chibi back then. Well, let's just make them chibi, and then and they don't even commit to that shit. In the battles, you see them, you know, being fully sized trainers.
Yeah,
I was gonna bring that up too. Like,
it's
just
just so
funny how the original had sprites and like those types of animations, but we're using 3D models to battle.
Exactly. It's like seeing a hyper-realistic version of Minecraft Steve. But that's beside...
I just don't get it.
Yeah, like, if you wanted to, you know, like, really cater to these kind of people, I mean, there's already an innovated style. Granted, it takes more work, but I'd still think that people would have more positively... there would have been more positive reception to that with the HD 2D style in Octopath and now Dragon Quest III's remake. You should check that out if you haven't. But yeah, man, like... Unfortunately, BDSP is everything that I do not want in a game or a remake to begin with. I think it's. I'm sure they feel otherwise, and I'm happy they do. But it to me is honestly an insult and something just completely uninspired. So yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that.
Yeah. And how do you feel about the BDSP games? Like, do you have any thoughts you want to share on them?
The,
I would
the fact that,
say
oh, sorry, go ahead.
it's just hard to explain. Like they knew damn well what people wanted. Why didn't they deliver it? Like, okay, people didn't specify. I want the game to look like, full-fledged 3D, like open world, whatever. But like, why did you just have to do this? And I understand it's not a Game Freak thing, but Masuda, you had a hand in this, so
Yeah, I'm worried about Masuda's involvement in that game because like I don't know, I trust him. I put so much trust in that guy. It's insane. And see, I can't say that it's like a Masuda decision because he directed Let's Go, which is like the most different a remake has been from the original. So I just don't understand this approach. Maybe they were just really wary to like give it to another company, but like I don't like that Sinnoh is your guinea pig for an open world game and like a super like faithful remake. And oh god, it's just like it doesn't know what it wants to be. I think that's another thing. It's just like, as you guys just like said before, it's it both wants to be like the super faithful remake, but it obviously like shifts between like two different styles, and then and like the box art is like that shit blows my mind because people are like, oh wow, I mean I could go on about this box art for fucking ever, but the hyper realistic Dialga and Palkia, oh my god, it looks so good. It's like, okay, now we have three styles that we're looking at here. Like I buy the game. I look at the cover, and then I turn the box around, and there are two other games in there. Like, what the fuck am I looking at this point? It's so
So I'm gonna play. I am gonna play devil's advocate, right? But before I do that, I want to get on the Masuda point that you made about like, whether or not it's his decision and stuff like that. So when you look back at creativity and taking chances, which is what people want Masuda to do, he was fully behind, Black and White, right? Completely, basically hard reset, start the shit over. Let's make completely new mons, only have that dex. Like, I think people, and then obviously you have Let's Go. I think people really don't realize like how different of an approach Masuda has taken in numerous different games to try to switch things up, whereas opposed to Omori, with Sun and Moon, okay, yay, he took gyms out, but it's not necessarily rocket science to cater the theme to Hawaii and have island challenges. I don't really think that was some crazy ambitious, like, oh my god, I can't believe he did that type thing. So, Omori gets less flack and Masuda gets most of it. So it's pretty interesting if you really actually know the facts and look at the past and where we're at now and who's developed what and who's made or took the most risks. Masuda puts his neck out there much more so than Omori does.
Maybe. I mean, I think Omori just does the really hard job of being the Pokemon guy now. I think that I'm not really a fan of any of Omori's work. I think that his like only good contribution to the series is the Pokewalker and maybe a couple of Pokemon designs. I'm very, very harsh on him, typically, and I think that as a director, he's just absolutely terrible. But I don't think it's his fault. I think Masuda wanted to retire from that position, and I think he wanted to give it to someone else. And yeah.
In regards to the devil's advocate part, what I was going to say was, so we've expressed our thoughts on BDSP, the way it looks and things like that, the mechanics, what we think are going to be in there. So would you guys have rather have just had Legends of Arceus, Gen 4, Platinum style game, that art style, and just been done with it, just have one game with the new concept? Or would you have rather just had Gen 4 remakes, 3D, boom, 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 normal play style, no Legends of Arceus shit in there? Like, how do you think the community wanted the games to actually really go? Because we know that Legends of Arceus exists now, and we're super excited about this new concept, but now we have what we really wanted is kind of shit. So, like, what do you guys think the direction wanted? Like, what direction do you honestly think they should have taken with Gen 4 entirely?
I mean, are you asking us, or are you asking what you think the community would want? Because, like, to me personally, I'm
asking you guys to shed light on that concept. So, like, or on that plan. How do you guys think the game Gen 4 in its entirety should have been planned out for the 25th anniversary?
Well, I mean, I feel like we should have just gotten one game because I think splitting development, obviously Ilka is a different company, but you have to remember Game Freak is not only working on an end of 2021 game, they're also working on Gen 9, at the same time, and I think splitting 3 games like this, stretching them really, really thin. This isn't to mention the fact that BDSP is basically like a like very, very. I hate the word soulless, but it's like uninspired is probably a better word.
Yeah.
It's very like by the numbers, and I think that just consolidating all of that effort, and maybe using Ilka to outsource, say, like textures, like they did with some previous like Breath of the Wild Monolith soft staff on Sword and Shield. I think maybe that approach might have been better. For just like one single Gen 4 remake. Truthfully, I just want less Pokemon games. I think that we don't need a new one every year. We need less games, and I think having 2 games released so close to each other is just fucking
Great.
It's just a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's such a bad idea.
So rather than features, do you think the 2 games are going to coincide with one another in some way, and that's how they're going to kind of like amplify both games and make them kind of stand out? Because people are kind of talking in the community like there's going to be some connection between the 2 games because they're not going to talk to Sword and Shield. Do you guys see there being some functionality between the 2 to make them like, I don't know, stand out? Do you see that being a possibility?
No. Yeah, I think we're gonna get like a Manaphy egg, like Meltan gift type thing, but like that's it. I don't think there's gonna be like a direct continuation of anything.
Yeah.
I know
Especially
what
when
will,
that takes place so many years before.
I know
Yeah.
what will make people riot to no end is if in BDSP they have X mythical event, and then in Legends of Arceus they have X amount of mythical events. Could you imagine if they only had
mythical events suck.
Darkrai
Fuck 'em.
in BDSP and then didn't have Darkrai in Legends of Arceus? Do you understand the amount of rage people would
I mean,
have?
you could just transfer it, right? Like, see, I don't see the problem with that. You just transfer it. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
mythical events fucking suck in general. They've always sucked.
No,
Yeah.
I've always liked them. I've always missed them. I hope they bring them back.
Because
I mean, I don't know. Mythical events to me, it's like what's so different about a mythical event like going to the store and downloading a Mew, or going to the store and downloading an item that lets me catch a Mew? Because ultimately that just takes more time. There's no like gameplay. There's no dungeon you have to go through like every other good legendary. And
It's just
I don't
the
know. I think
principle of it. Like, if you're just handed a Mew, it doesn't feel as special or like as accomplishing, I guess you could say, as opposed to going out and just having to spam a bunch of Pokeballs to get it.
I don't know. I think it's like the same level of like brain power though. Like there's no real difference to me.
Plus,
I mean, again, maybe if there was like a dungeon that you have to go through to get that Pokemon, but that's never been the case with the mythical, you know.
So my take is pretty much it addresses what both Lewis and Anthony may want. Basically, I think that the fact that I think that when people talk about mythicals and wanting to bring them back, add more prestige to them, I would say their views are rather short-sighted, or misguided would be the proper term for it. Like, I get the fact that you wanted to make it mean something again, but do you realize just how the idea of just going to just one random area, finding that Pokemon just chilling there, fighting it, throwing some balls, capturing it.
You even get the soft reset in front of it.
Yeah,
It's just too
exactly. It's literally, whether if you think about it, it's kind of just handed to you on a silver platter. Yeah,
Exactly.
sure. There's a challenge in catching them, but it's still at the end of the day, literally there, no challenge for you whatsoever. So
easy. You
instead,
also have your end game team usually, so it's like you already have like your perfect catching team. So
Yeah.
it's not difficult.
some people just don't prefer to like have whatever Pokeball they want
wait.
to.
Let me finish there. Sorry, like I wasn't done. So I'm gonna address what you're saying, Anthony. So instead, wouldn't it be better to instead bring? Yeah, sure, you can bring back the mythical events, but take a different approach with it this time. Make it probably like a series of side quests that you need to do that further add to the lore of the said mythical. Make it mean something more as a result, which ultimately culminates in like you catching it, and at the same time building some form of actual connection with it. In a sense, it could like add more to the storytelling experience. So when I think of old mythical events, I can see why people are looking forward to it, but I think that their sights are rather like really really low when they want it back. and that they should instead, like propose for Game Freak to, like implement it again, but make it something that's an evolution of what we've had in the past. If you catch my drift.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, for me, the mythicals have always been something like, it's just, there's nothing special to me about them going to a GameStop and picking up a card, scratching a code off and getting them. Like, to me, it's just super lame. I think you nailed it exactly. It's not so much accessibility to the mythical Pokemon. I think it's more or less like, hey, let's just add some value to the meaning of what these things are and not just throw them in a cave and go catch them. It's like, hey, let's build it up a little bit. Let's like, hey, make them feel special. Because like right now, it's just, oh yeah, go to your local Target and pick up a game card and scratch the card off, and there you go. Like, to me, that's just absolutely ridiculous that you would do that with Pokemon that are supposed to mean.
Everybody here lives in America or Europe or whatever. I'm a Bangladeshi. I don't have any Target or any of these places here.
Well, yeah, exactly. Some people are just fucked.
Exactly, and that goes back to the accessibility thing. But that's, maybe we can have that conversation at a different time.
Wait, what were you saying?
I was just saying, for example, like the Deoxys event in ORAS, they could do something like that. Maybe not so much an item download, but it's still, something to do.
Yeah, just put them in the game. That's literally it. I will say that again, it's something I've already made a video on, so I feel like I'm repeating myself. But Meltan is probably the only good mythical post Mew in terms of like how interesting that is to get. Fuck Pokemon Go for various reasons, but I think that the way that they handled it, the way that they like built up that reveal, like that one community day where everyone was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like they just leaked Gen 8, and it was like a big deal that you can't really forget if you were in the community at the time, and I think that is like a really cool thing instead of having a mythical Pokemon that you get from GameStop and is also the lead of a new movie, but not really because there's usually another legendary Pokemon. I don't know, fuck that, it sucks.
Yeah, it's really strange, but. All in all, we're going to shift over to Legends of Arceus, but real quick before we do...
There's no... It's just Arceus.
Yeah, it's just Legends of Arceus.
Yeah, I told him that too.
So, but before we shift the topic over there, we'll just go to each of us and, basically say if we're buying day one. So, Lewchube, are you buying BDSP day one?
It is literally my job. So I have to. And listen, okay, I could buy like 20 copies of that game with the money I've made from complaining about it. So, I don't fucking care. Yeah, I'm gonna buy day one.
Uzi, are you buying the games day one? Are you buying them at all?
I'll make more money playing it than I do buying
it. and what are you buying the game or not?
No.
I'm pretty sure I called it uninspired, but yeah, for me, it pretty much just stems down to this, and it's really, really sad that it's reached this point. But if the game actually has a proper fucking timer for 6v6 singles, that's honestly all I need.
Do you want to play Gen 4 OU? I don't know if you do want to do that, okay? I started playing comp Pokemon in Gen 4 OU. That shit sucks, okay?
Really?
I don't know if you want to do that.
Joey always gasses up Gen 4. Like, everybody was like, oh my god, no battle preview, it was fun, whatever.
Listen, okay? I can confirm, as somebody who was there, every metagame was bad. Like, there's not been a good Pokemon metagame. The closest I can imagine is, like, Gen 5, like, OU, but people would disagree with me on that, and maybe, like, X and Y OU, like, very early on. But everybody
Gen 6 is so fun.
Yeah, Gen 6 is fun because you could just send out, like, 7 tactical nukes and then the game was over. But like, yeah, oh my god, Talonflame day one was the stupidest shit.
Oh my god,
like,
Brave.
It's I don't know if you want to play Gen 4 OU with fairy types as well. Oh my god, that's gross. I can't imagine.
I mean,
I will definitely. I'll be buying BDSP day one. A, I want to make content on it too, but B, I'm a Gen 4 stan, so I will definitely be buying both. I just love Gen 4, so the games are gonna be just fun to me. I think just to play through again. Even though I'm playing Platinum right now, but I think they'll just still be fun. But I'm really looking forward to Legends of Arceus, which is exactly what we're gonna jump into right now.
Both games or just one of them?
So Legends of Arceus was shown off literally right after BDSP, same trailer, everything, and people were extremely interested basically right away. The unique part about that game was, the night before, the game virtually leaked all over the internet, along with some screenshots that really is what people are talking about. Really, not even so much the gameplay, because it's really pretty much just Breath of the Wild with Pokemon. So the actual trailer itself wasn't really anything too crazy. We saw some frame drops, and it's basically an alpha build of the game, so I don't really judge the game based off that. But essentially, the screenshots that were leaked were really what had people extremely interested about the game from what I saw. So we're gonna jump into kind of what basically what our thoughts are on the overworld concept and how it's gonna work with Pokemon. So Lewchube, I'll start with you. How do you feel about the open world concept with Pokemon, and how do you think they're gonna make it work?
I know nothing about the game. Next question.
Okay.
Yes.
I know nothing about it. I can't judge it. It's like so absurdly early for me to say like anything about this game. Like the most that I know is that like Cyndaquil is a new model, and also there's like the White House in the background. I don't know what that's about. It's kind of weird. I was writing a video for this game, and it was going to be very detailed, and I held off on it for a while because I was like, I know nothing about it. Like a lot of it is like, well, if they do this, it'll be good, but I don't know if they're going to do this. So I mean, as a concept, open world Pokemon is very scary to me because I think a lot of Pokemon's design works really well in how a game like paces itself. So for example, I think one of Sword and Shield's biggest issues is that the pacing is utter dog shit. You go from like Gym 4 to like Gym 8 in like 3 hours, and it's like worse than X and Y about it. And I honest to God think that like the fact that like you can control that pacing to like a large extent in an open world game. Again, I don't know how they're gonna like gate it, but at the end of the day, it's like, it could go really poorly. I like this isn't even going into like the active time battle system that we know they're having because of leaks, or how like mobility or movement is gonna work.
The trainer can get hurt.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. No. How the trainer can like die in a fight. Like I don't know. It seems like so much like Nintendo hire this man bullshit. I'm cautiously optimistic. That's all I can really say on this game. There's just not enough information, and again, it's worrying that we don't really have any information. And it's worrying that it's coming out in January. I really hoped that it was coming out at the end of next year, that they would delay it. I was hoping for it, but it's like, man, like you guys already have a 2021 game planned. I know they have a 2021 game planned. I know. I'm trying to think how much I can talk about this. They have probably 2 non-Pokemon projects going on at Game Freak. They also have Gen 9 going on. It's like when does it end? Like when does this constant cycle of shit just fucking end? Please, just give them a break. That's my take on the game. Also, the box art is gorgeous.
I love the box art. I actually have that background on my iPad. It actually looks really
so
good.
pretty.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
Yeah. Mystery Dungeon box art.
Yeah, same.
Uzi, how are we feeling about the Legends of Arceus? What are your thoughts on the open world concept of the games?
So, as far as Legends of Arceus goes, honestly, oh wow, that was a really long pause. Sorry about that.
No, that's it. That's all you can say though. There's nothing about this game.
Yeah, Lewis has pretty much summed it up itself. Like, I can give you my opinion on what I think of it, like just the concept itself. As far as that goes, I am really happy about the fact that for the first time in 25 plus years, this company, Game Freak, they're finally taking a completely distinct approach in how they want to do things. Obviously, the style that we've become accustomed to throughout all these years, it does have its own charms. But at the same time, I feel like like having such a set system, even though there's still infinite more liberties they could take with it, which they still haven't. The fact that now this what I'm seeing right now is an open field, basically an open field of endless possibilities that basically just depends on the approach they're taking at it. That prospect in itself kind of excites me. I'm very much happy about that fact. And I don't know how much, if this is going to be a good comparison. It probably isn't. But one of the main reasons why I'm such a huge fan of the Pokemon Adventures manga is that literally from the second arc, they completely break away from that formula that we've been seeing throughout all these years. Instead, it chooses to take a proper focus focus on what on the story they want to tell, and they make sure that the protagonist that they have is like properly centered around that. And it extends to gold, silver, and crystal, ruby and sapphire, emerald, diamond, and pearl, you name it.
Yeah.
And so if I were to use that logic and apply it to Legends of Arceus, that prospect of like not necessarily having a complete set path to go to this time around, it makes me really happy that Game Freak is showing this level of ambition, because the ambition is definitely there, because they have no reason to do this. Sword and Shield popped off, baby. Third highest selling Pokemon games. They can do this shit for the rest of their lives and their kids and their own grandkids.
Yeah, see, that's something that I think is important to discuss, like how Game Freak reacts to their games, because obviously this game has been in development for about safe guess is like a year and a half, 2 years. And generally, given what I'm suspecting about the people that are working on it, like the very specific team members, I think that obviously it's kind of a response to how Sword and Shield was met, I would say, at around E3 time, before the game had released, or no, maybe just after, who knows. But either way, they definitely know about Sword and Shield's response from the fans, and I think that it's also less over a spot. Like it's weird that people are like, Game Freak, they suck. They are like nostalgia baiting. They don't change their mind. They only do what they can do, like bare minimum. It's like, yeah, but they're also making like a completely open world game that they've never done before. Like, why bother with that creative risk? See, like with BDSP, if Game Freak were making that, I'd be like, well, what the fuck's the point in this? Like, this is literally the most like by the numbers shit. And I would like completely agree with that sentiment. But with Legends Arceus, it's so abundantly clear that at least maybe the newer staff that had kind of started around the time Black and White came out, like I would say like maybe second or third generation Game Freak staff, they really want to do something different, and I'm excited to see the team behind it this time. I'm really, really excited.
So I noticed one interesting small detail that no one's really even talked about with Legends of Arceus, and it's been Game Freak very distinctly and very subtly decided not to tell us who's directing that game. So we have no idea who Legends of Arceus director is.
Oh, I'm scared. I'm so scared.
we have no clue, and I think that's
new generation.
I think that's 100% intentional. That's not out there.
I mean, what's everyone's bets?
I think it's Omori.
Millennial or Gen.
Not Omori.
Sorry, Gen Z.
No, Ant, go ahead. I interrupted you. Go ahead, Ant.
I'm thinking it's probably someone new, like a millennial, younger type of age, because I feel like this is kind of like something we're used to, something that we wanted. I forget who the guy was when they did the Pokemon Direct in I want to say like August. It was the second one of 2019, and it was the guy they mentioned did the competitive scene.
Oh, I mean, you're probably thinking of Iwao. I don't remember that direct specifically.
Him. I was wondering if maybe it was him or
directed Ultra Sun and Moon, Iwao?
Yeah, Iwao did. So Iwao was the director of Ultra Sun and Moon, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think that he is he's my guess. I mean, he's probably my favorite director on the series since Morimoto. Who obviously did Emerald and Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I think that generally Iwao's approach is very, very contemporary to how he makes games. So I guess to break it down, like the eras of Game Freak staff, you have like Gen 1 and 2, which were very like rigid, like the people that like Masuda, Sugimori, Nishino, you probably know these people. And then the kind of like second generation would be like with Ruby and Sapphire and Diamond and Pearl, which would be like Omori's kind of group. And then we have like a third generation, which would be like Black and White, which is like Iwao, people around his age. And then we have like the Gen 7 and 8 people like Tani, like Nabana. I would kill for Nabana to be a director, but I don't think that he's not old enough, but like advanced in the company enough yet for that position. Nabana was the for those that don't know, he was basically like the lead visual designer for Let's Go, and I think that the way that he like because like that generation, like we finally have a generation of people that grew up like playing Pokemon, that worked on Let's Go. Most of Let's Go's team were people that grew up with Yellow, and it's why that game is like pretty faithful in a lot of areas to a fault, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Iwao is like a safe bet, and B, just like such a good fit. I remember when Ultra Sun and Moon was coming out, he got asked in an interview like, "Why didn't you guys just do this as DLC?" And his honest answer, I feel like a lot of people forget this, especially after we actually got DLC. He was like, "Look, we're always looking for new ways to make stuff," and that implies to me that like he was like, this is something I want to look into basically. And lo and behold, we got DLC, and it's way better than like waiting a year for a shitty third version.
Oh my
And I think Iwao's approach to how he works in this game or how he works in the series is so good, and I would kill for him to be the director.
Yeah, I would love to see the Crown Tundra DLC creator really head up Legends of Arceus, because they seem to have a clear idea on what open world Pokemon looks like visually, because Crown Tundra was just looked awesome and like was very scaled really well, and I really enjoyed that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to see that person, because the DLC team's very young too, so that may not be a possibility. But I just want to see a new face, basically.
Yeah, I don't know if I would want Tani working on on like directing a full Pokemon game yet. I think that's a little scary. Maybe like Gen 9 or 10. Like I think it's way too soon though, because I have no fucking clue what he does. I can't, because here's the thing with Crown Tundra and the Isle of Armor. It's like, yeah, those were good, but how much of those were his game design? Like I don't know how directing works for DLC, because it's so new for Pokemon. I know how directing works for a third version or for a remake or for like a main game, but I don't know what involvement he would have. I don't know like how early they plan DLC. It's still like a very new thing. And obviously like the team for the DLC was like such a weird mix of old and new people. And it's not something that we like fully know to the extent of. So either way, I think it might be a little bit too early for him to direct a full Pokemon game.
So
That's just me, though.
In terms of the features of the game, how do you guys think? Because we saw like in the screenshots, we saw some leaked footage of it could have been very, very basic, just placeholder type models. Flying the character around, climbing mountains, that type of thing. Do you guys think that we're gonna be able to essentially fly on a Staraptor and just fly around the map, or do you think we're gonna kind of be transported? Like, because Breath of the Wild, you had the hang glider, you could basically just go fly around wherever you wanted to. But with Pokemon, they have a very clear advantage in that aspect, because they can literally say, okay, any flying Pokemon that you can essentially ride on, you can take around with you and fly wherever you want to. Do you think we're going to get that level of openness, or do you think it's just going to be like Sun and Moon, where you have a dedicated Pokemon service carrying you around, or call a Pokemon, or whatever the case is? What kind of freedom, basically, do you think we're going to have in the games?
I would hope that it would be something where, think Oras or even Let's Go, how you could fly above the overworld. Granted, Oras was a little bit more open. You didn't have like restrictions, but something like that would be nice, to just kind of glide how you want to. And granted, it was restricted to just Megalatios or Megalatios, but yeah, it would be nice if we could have that feature kind of return.
Yeah, I think that might just be like the best case scenario. I mean, see, this is where the comparisons to Breath of the Wild are like really problematic, and it's like a huge issue that Game Freak needs to discover. So obviously, when you have a big open world, you need to find ways to get around that open world. And a lot of the pull with Zelda is that they had 7 years or some shit to make like this really, really interactive game where like every single person's experience is going to be different. Game Freak don't have the time, nor are they really like aiming for that, because they have like a whole battle system to think about. Breath of the Wild's combat is okay, but it's no like RPG. That's like a core single player experience.
Yeah.
So I think that expecting anything like remotely close to like anything physics based or like remotely interesting traversal is like a really difficult thing for Game Freak to handle. I also think that they're just going to do like a Let's Go and just have like very select Pokemon in the game that you can just fly to varying degrees, and obviously that extends to like ride Pokemon or climbing Pokemon, but I don't know. I'm worried about it, and I think that it's going to be a big like what if question for the game.
Well, and the second part of it, in regards to freedom, real quick, because I just want to add this before Uzi answers. In regards to also not only traveling, but just having Pokemon, I say Pokemon follow you, but it would absolutely make zero sense if in that game you're just running around by yourself. I can only imagine it's going to be, hey, let's have your Pokemon follow you, and then whatever Pokemon you want to ride, you ride that Pokemon. You kind of make it simultaneous. So,
yeah, I mean, I think exploring that like symbiotic relationship between a Pokemon and the player is something that hasn't really been done before. Because again, in games like Heart Gold and Let's Go and Sword and Shield, it's very much like following Pokemon have always been a very background thing. Like you can interact with them very basically, and that's it.
Just basic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Let's Go like kind of pushed it a little bit, but they also had the advantage of like a reduced scope and a region that they had designed 20 years ago that they, for some reason, didn't want to change. Most of Kanto's routes still suck ass, but yeah, I mean, I think it's very hard to like envision like a game with like 400 Pokemon that like half of them are writable in various scenarios. Like I can't imagine that they would have the time to implement that properly.
Yeah,
I think it's very
especially, and this was what I was gonna say before. This shit is coming in January. It's
Yep.
not even coming in the fall of next year. This January 28th.
It's
Are you
so
kidding me?
unnecessary. It's so unnecessary.
It really is, and it really tells me to see that see that, because one of the main things that I was feeling when I saw the reveal trailer was that, okay, I like the potential in this. This is definitely something that I'm very excited to see, because yeah, like again, I don't get why. Maybe people are saying this a lot, or they're not. But this is a very big deal. First time in 25 plus years that they're doing something so like different on such a grand scale. Nobody would have ever expected Game Freak to do this kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that like after finding out that the box art got revealed, which looked fucking amazing, and also I'm gonna say something in regards to the box art after this, but finding out that it's gonna get released in January 28th, well, it really honestly just made me upset on a lot of levels, because it just gives me this idea that
It's so sad.
it's not only unnecessary, but it could also be indicative of the level of scope that this project may have in itself. Because if what I'm gonna get is just gonna be like a very short experience with very little variety in it to make me keep getting back at it, it's just gonna make it really bad. It's just gonna be a really bad thing.
My biggest fear, I guess, for the game is that because there's no gyms and they tell you your goal is to create the Pokedex or whatever the case is, I have a fear, not an expectation or thought or like expectation, but I have a big fear that the game may be very boring and that, or stale, maybe that's a better word to use, due to that, unless of course as they reveal the game to us there's X, Y, and Z shit to do, find the Arceus plates around there. Once you have them all, Arceus appears, something, whatever it is they're going to do. But essentially right now, if you're looking at it, you could potentially see where the game could fall very flat very easily, just because it could be extremely boring if the only goal is let's create the Pokedex. I mean,
so you bring this up, and that's an interesting point, because this just reminded me of something. This, with the fact that like before, if there's one thing about Pokemon games, other than the Generation 5s and the Generation and Alola, you never, like, the prospect of the things that are in the said region, like a lore heavy region like Sinnoh, or like all the regions that we have, they are always basically never the focus, if you get what I mean, because the focus is always pretty much just you going on your journey, getting badges, catching Pokemon, becoming the champion, and the many interesting things about the regions are never really closely integrated into the basic experience. But this time, the fact that this generation is like centered around the prospect of just making a whole Sinnoh dex and all that kind of stuff, and the fact that it's such an old age, this genuinely to me feels like the game where the lore can be the core focus of the game. And by the fact that that Sinnoh region is one of the most like lore heavy regions, and has such a great base behind it, I think if they have a clear vision of focusing on that aspect and really fleshing that out with Regigigas and even the mythicals like Darkrai, Manaphy, and all that kind of stuff, which ultimately culminates in catching Arceus, which, for the record, is also a mythical. That is one thing that I really hope is the case here this time around, because if there's any game to make the lore defocus, flesh it out, and just make it something, like make it a part of your experience to be wowed by, this is the one, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think one point I want to make real quick as we kind of get to the end here, I think one thing they can really do to liven things up is, I don't know if you guys have played Immortals Phoenix Rising, but I guess you could apply it to Breath of the Wild too. Like as you're running around the world or flying on your Pokemon, whatever the case is, you have these random different experiences that are going on off in the distance. Like for example, you'd see maybe a giant space warp open and you're like, oh shit, is Dialga acting up? Or like, some type of like environmental action going on constantly in the world, because Pokemon has a huge ability to really expand on that and like make it feel immersive. And I think if they can do that, like Immortals Phoenix Rising and Breath of the Wild do, I think a lot of people would really enjoy that aspect of the game. If it is maybe a little more boring, but if you make that world immersive, then I think players will be more content with that.
I mean, I think like this is all well and good in theory, and I know you guys aren't saying that it's going to be the case, but
yeah,
I don't know if this is controversial, but like Pokemon's core stories have never been that fucking good. Like the only good ones are Alola's. I'm sorry, Black and White sucks. Sinnoh's story sucks ass. Hoenn's story is god awful. Like Pokemon is best when the lore is in the background, in my humble opinion. I think that like Kanto and Johto, people give them a lot of shit because there's no story. The team leaders are really weak and boring. And there's no big legendary Pokemon. It's like, okay, but like I'm glad that those stories don't boil down into a formula, and it's more so your adventure. And I think that ultimately, like the only game that's also delivered with that has been Gen 7 with how it handled a like very character-driven story. What I'm trying to get at here is that I think that Legends Arceus could do a really good job at completely demystifying everything about Sinnoh. I think that going back to the past and showing us like a lot of cool shit, it sounds really cool in theory, but they could just fuck it up and it would just be really boring and really badly handled. And I think this way because a lot of people are like, oh well, if this game does well, I hope we get like a Legends like a Legends Unova and we get to see like the original dragon. And it's like, this shit would be so boring. It would just be worse than the Legend. Like some stories I think are way better off like, not explained like in very blatant detail, and I think that Legends Arceus could run that risk. Granted, Arceus has been, as a Pokemon within the lore, has been terribly mishandled for, well, I mean, literally since it has existed, for various reasons. And I think that, again, Legends demystifying that shit is really bad. Also, most Pokemon games have had like Legends run in the background perfectly fine. Gen 3 is like a good example, where it's like you don't need to show us, the like what happened all those years ago, because that's also just the conflict of the game. I don't know. I'm just worried about Legends from a narrative perspective because I don't think it's gonna have one. And I think that focusing on the lore is just worrying. It's just worrying. I don't think they're gonna handle it very well.
So I think for me, one of the things that I really want to see in this game is I don't want it to just be like an open field. I want to see like many different areas of landscape, kind of like new Pokemon Snap. I don't want to see just like a hill and like trees and some Pokemon. I want to see like an icy area, a volcano, maybe like a rainforest, a desert, and I'm not sure if it's going to meet all of those things.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably cover most of those because we're in Sinnoh. I mean, God, that... Like, again, I don't know enough about this game. Like, are they going to go to, like, the Battle Island? Like, is that going to be a thing yet? Obviously, there's going to be no buildings there. But, like, is that going to have the desert from that area or the volcano? Like, we don't know. The only thing we do know is that on the box art, Spear Pillar is, like, has not been, like, destroyed yet. So I feel like the climax of the game is going to be, like, something happens there. It's going to be, like, a Ganon's Castle thing where you can go there in the first hour and beat the game. And it's, I don't know, that makes me very, very worried.
Yeah, I hope we don't have that level of accessibility in the games. Like, you obviously
God.
don't want a linear aspect to the game. But
I mean, this is what happens, right? Like people want a Breath of the Wild Pokemon, and I feel like they're gonna get that very by the numbers, and then they're gonna be disappointed again, which is just not surprising at all. Honestly.
no, yeah, that wouldn't be very surprising. I guess real quick, we can hop into the battle system. Obviously, the character has some type of dodge roll capacity. I made a whole video on the battle system in this game, and there's got to be a reason why your trainer has the accessibility and freedom that they do. If in battle your character can't move around and contribute in some way. So, what do you guys think the battle system is going to be like?
I mean, it's we know from the leaks that it's seamless, right? Like it's a seamless transition into a battle. There's no like loading.
Yeah, and there was mention of ATB gauges at the top of the leak. If you translate the top page of it, it mentions ATB functionality in there. So I don't know if that means anything.
Yeah, the ATB stuff is really scary because like since it's no longer like a strictly turn-based affair, it means like obviously before we had like an indefinite amount of time to pick a move, and how that is determined is by how fast a Pokemon is, right? Like I have a Garchomp, you have a Hippowdon. My Pokemon's are gonna move first. Like, I feel like for this, they're gonna have to rebalance the entire stat system around that change, where like faster Pokemon are likely to attack more frequently, but defensive and slower Pokemon are compensated with like access to better moves or like a better defensive stat spread, which sounds good on paper, but that creates like a bell curve, right? Where like, really bulky Pokemon are really good and really like fun to use, and really fast Pokemon are really good and fun to use. And then like the 80% that aren't that just suck ass and are just not going to play any different.
Yeah, Uzi, what are your thoughts on the battle system?
Yeah.
I think what we're talking about is all well and good, but realistically speaking, it's really, yeah, see again, awkward silence, which pretty much sums up the whole thing. We don't know shit.
Yeah,
We don't know
it's so hard. Like
anything.
this is based off like a Japanese like board meeting leak. Like it's so hard.
We're literally cherry picking to the absolute maximum here.
Yeah.
We don't know yet. We don't know if some of these are even gonna make it into this game or not, because we just have this old clip to look forward to. And you know what? Since we're talking about the trailer itself, I guess I appreciate how the animations look right now at the certain style it's going, especially with Riolu going for quick attack or extreme speed. I generally don't know, but yeah, like honestly, the only thing I'll say is this: whatever they have, whatever vision that they have, or whatever vision or intention they have with this, they stick to it. They do this.
Yeah.
And because at the end of the day, there's this saying that I've recently, fully made mine. When it says that don't do things by hows, see things through until the very end. Which ironically is the situation we're seeing right now with Bdsp and Legends of Arceus. And I don't know if it's gonna, end up bastardizing both of these games as a result. I definitely, again, the fact that Legends of Arceus is gonna drop in January is genuinely a worrying thing. But yeah, like whatever you guys do, I hope that you have a proper vision to it. I hope you stick to it, and if you do, great. Chances are it's very likely gonna stand on its own.
Yeah,
and
I think you won't have to worry about that, truthfully. Like, because I know you were talking about like I guess like committing to like this like say open world ATB type thing, right? And when it comes to I think most people would agree like the most drastic change the series had was Sun and Moon, quote unquote drastic. Well, we know now that game is out that trials were added in the debugging phase. Like they were originally going to have gyms. The biggest changes were like the most last minute, and it's so evident because they didn't show any of that in the reveal trailer. Whereas with Legends Arceus, they're like, okay, straight up, this is coming out soon, like next year. This is an open world game. Here's all the cool things you can do. We don't have a lot to show you, but this is like the concept of the game, and I'm so happy that it's so like again like Sword and Shield is another good example, right? Like people are like, oh, the wild area is such a big deal. they mostly added a lot of that functionality after they saw how popular like overworld Pokemon were in Let's Go. So again, and it wasn't in the first trailer. The wild area wasn't. We didn't see that until June. So it really goes to show that, like, I don't know, it feels far more confident than any Pokemon game released in the last few years. And to be honest, even if it does suck, even if it's like that first attempt, this sort of thing, I can't be too mad about it because A, it's their first attempt at something like such a huge drastic change, and B, you know, they feel like so confident about it that, like, bless you, they feel so confident about it that even if it like sucks ass, you know, they're going to go back to the drawing board, and it makes me like, that's the one thing that I'm really excited about. It just feels
exactly. Yeah, because again, they had no reason to do this.
Yeah,
They
exactly,
can
as
do-
we said before.
Yeah, with Sword and Shield alone, I'm pretty sure they could feed 3 generations if they wanted to, or probably 5 or 6, whatever. That's the thing, like, yeah, they had no reason to, and they're doing this. And even if the game ends up sucking ass, and there's a very huge chance of that happening because your first attempt will always be your worst. I'm sorry, but that's just a fact of life. It's still a good thing because it shows to me that they are not really what these other YouTubers that think they know everything. Uh, they claim that, you know, like they don't care, they don't give a rat's ass and whatever. This just the fact that Legends of Arceus exists alone shows to me that they do care, that they have ambition, that they are willing to do something different. And yeah, like this game's existence makes me happy. Let's see how it goes. If it sucks, it sucks. But let's see what happens afterwards, because because it at least shows to me that there is a light, a quote unquote light. Yeah.
And how do you feel about the battle system? What do you think it's gonna look like?
Well, first and foremost, I said this since Sword and Shield. Why the fuck don't Pokemon approach each other when they're gonna fight? They finally do that now. So
What do you mean?
I'm really glad that they make physical contact when they're like about to attack.
Yeah, I think that's like a definite improvement and reaction to like people being like, okay. I mean, see, that makes me think like, how many moves are they gonna have in the game though as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if
So,
they'll
I
even
don't know.
have TMs, I mean, when you think about, because when you have TMs, what they're essentially doing is limiting the amount or the ability of your Pokemon for 2 reasons: one, memory and making the games, and 2, that's how the battle system is balanced. But with Legends of Arceus, I mean, do you even need 100 TMs? Is it going to be, I mean, is it free reign? Hey, let's just learn what we need to learn and like teach our mons whatever moves, because we don't even know if there's other trainer battles yet. Like, I mean, there's just so many things. So when in terms of the battle system and balancing and how it's gonna with moves and things like that, I mean, will there be new moves? Who the fuck knows? But there's just
Yeah,
a lot.
I mean, I think that for that reason, it's going to have reduced scope in those areas. I genuinely think that we might even find, like, again, I'm not calling it, but we might only have like 200 Pokemon and like half the moves that we would normally have, because they are trying so hard in so many other areas. And again, if they had more time, not if they had a higher budget or if they cared more, you know, they would probably have more to this game. But sorry, I interrupted before.
No, it's good. I mean, I do have an open mind with this game, and I think that's that's the thing for me going into the game. I'm literally just waiting to see what is said about the game in terms of media stuff, because we really don't know how long the game's been developed. So I want that question answered, number one. Number two, I want to know kind of how the battle system. Basically, we just need to find out more information, and I'll critique it from there. But I'm definitely not one to jump on Game Freak and criticize the game until I literally have it in my hands and I've played it for X amount of time, because you know the community is going to lash out right away based on what they see, like they always do. But you know, for people like us who make content and do things like this, I think it's important, as we all will do, to play the games and kind of really see, okay, this was a 3-year development time frame that we had for the games. Is what we got in 3 years worth it, or do they need to extend it? And I think that's a conversation we can have. But I want to have that conversation as we get more news, and then maybe talk about like, hey, will the Legends series continue past Arceus? You know, will we have a Legends of
I hope not, honestly.
you know, what
It's
you call
probably
it,
going to be Legends Mew next.
Legends of Zekrom, you know, or whatever,
Please,
whatever
no.
the case is.
Legends Mew. Oh, I can't wait to go back to Kanto.
It's going to happen next year.
I
I
have my predictions for what the next game is going to be. I'm very, very, very confident in what the next game is going to be. but it all depends on who's directing this. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other
I
thing.
don't-
We can kind of set our expectations on that once we know who the director is. I think that's an important part too, because we can kind of get an idea on where the direction of the game is going to go. But
Yeah, if it's somehow Omori, I'm gonna piss myself because it's like, well, he's kind of not working on Gen 9, but like, what's he doing here? I don't know. Who
yeah,
knows?
because I
I
mean,
don't-
real quick, I guess the one way, and this is just a yes or no
Wait,
answer.
hold
Because
on, hold on. And what were you saying?
oh yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't want to jump the gun because we saw how they botched it in Let's Go, but I kind of like the way that you aim your Pokeball to throw it in this game. So I'm
Yes.
hoping it's well executed.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
same. Oh my
that's
gosh.
such a big deal because, look, okay, catching. I mean, I alluded to this when talking about mythicals, but catching Pokemon the same way for the last 25 years has kind of sucked. Let's Go. I think that if you were to, I mean, you can play the game on emulator and do this, or just in handheld mode. But if you control it with the gyro instead of having to do some awful Joy-Con throw shit, or just with the stick, right? Like that
Yeah.
is far more engaging than catching a Pokemon in like any other previous game. Like I have to know how every Pokemon interacts, how often they attack me, how they like jump, how they move around. Like Zubat is a pain in the ass in Let's Go, and I like that. I like that it's
Shit.
different. I like that Onyx is like 7 feet, above my head, and I have to aim like really high. That's cool. And just bringing that interaction to the overworld and like making that all so seamless is like a big, big win for Legends Arceus. Just like
Yeah.
out the gate.
Yeah, and I think having the UI for the capturing, because I'm assuming there's going to be some type of, line that goes from the Pokeball. I think what would be really cool is if during battle, as you weaken the Pokemon, you can kind of run around and get different angles to throw, and that'll give you a higher success rate in catching
Yeah.
it. Like, that would be something really, really
Yeah.
cool. So the ability to catch Pokemon, Let's Go, introduced it, right? A new way to do it. It was poorly done, but I think Legends of Arceus has a huge potential to capitalize on that.
Yeah.
But all right, cool guys. I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Real quick though, this will be for another video, or for another podcast. But real quick, I just want a yes or no answer. Will Generation 9 come out next year? Lutu.
No. I
Uzi.
think that. I mean, this is so hard to say. I don't want it to. I think it's possible. It's absolutely.
Uzi, what are your thoughts? Gen 9, yes or no next year? Did we lose him? And what do we got? Gen 9 next year, yes or no? Did we
Hey.
lose you? Did I lose you guys?
Wait, what? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm
I can
good.
hear you now.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened.
Me either.
Is,
Wait,
Uzi, are you
Uzi
still there?
Disconnected. I think Discord might have just died for a second. You're gonna have to unlock the voice chat for a second. But yeah, you can do that while I explain this, I guess. But the thing with where was I at? Yeah, so Game Freak has had a very good like working from home kind of thing going on. COVID might not have affected them too much, but again, it might have affected, say, like the pre-production phase of Gen 9. I don't know how the DLC is going to factor into this. I don't really know how many teams Pokemon has anymore. They have had 2 for the longest time, and with Legends Arceus coming out and like 2 Gear Project games probably happening alongside like maybe a new Let's Go game, because they teased it, they like sequel beta that so hard. It's so impossible to say. I think it's possible, but I don't think that I don't know. I don't think so. I would like it not to be the case, at least.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we just need to know more. I mean, that's really what it
Yeah.
comes down to. We just need to know more, so then that way we can kind of really, really have a good conversation about what the game's direction is going to be. Because the next time we get news on Legends Arceus, that's when I want to talk and have an episode about where I think the direction of the series is going to go. Like, will we have more Legends games? Because I think that'll be something that we definitely need to talk about, because if that's going to interfere with Gen 9, or if we're only going to get them during remake games, then is this a permanent thing? I think we'll know as we get more information about the games.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah.
we're in like a fascinating time. Like I really think that obviously you guys still have to answer, but I just want to say that never have we ever, like in the last 5 or 6 years, we got or in the last few generations, right? We got a game that had no third version, a game that had 2 third versions, DLC instead of a third version, a remake of a game that already had a remake that is also like tied into Pokemon Go, that is like a new sub-series. We've got like another new sub-series. It's such an interesting time to be a fan, and it's really, really hard to like predict anything that Game Freak is going to do.
Exactly. I mean, they've never had 2 games come out in the same fiscal year that are 2 entirely different games but based off the same game. Like we're almost living in some kind of Twilight Zone thing where it's like Game Freak's literally just doing whatever they want. Because if you remember the Let's Go marketing, that happened out of nowhere. They had this new press conference format. They had a Pokeball accessory that you literally caught Pokemon with as a new controller. Like they had so many cool things, new things that happened, and we're just like, holy shit, we did not expect that. But yeah, we can definitely talk about a lot of that stuff at a different time, because I think there's a lot to talk about when it comes to marketing and how Game Freak's kind of adjusted to, new creations and things they've wanted to do. But I'm actually going to wrap it up here. So that's going to be...
Wait, what did everyone else want to say about whether Gen 9 was coming out next year?
Oh yeah, wait, what? Yeah, go ahead, Uzi. We didn't get John in on that.
Yeah. Unless they're masochists, I really hope it doesn't come out next year. Seriously, just take more time. I beg of you. I don't know who's deciding, who's making all these decisions and all, but honestly, I'm really confident in the idea that it won't come out in 2022 because we already have Breath of the Wild 2 coming out, and I don't necessarily think it's gonna be coming out early next year. It's probably gonna come out as a holiday title.
Really? I think it's gonna be summer.
I think it'll be a holiday as well.
I think it's gonna be summer. Because I think they have something bigger. Oh, wait, no, they have Splatoon for summer, right?
I think that'll be spring, actually.
Well, and there's Bayonetta, too. I think that's closer than Metroid. So I don't...
Bayonetta 3 is never coming out, okay? That game, Prime 4, never coming out. No. They're not releasing.
Pikachu will be announced before Metroid 3 comes out, all right?
Oh, yeah. God, what about Pokemon Sleep, guys? Like, holy shit.
Yeah, Pokemon Sleep went to sleep real quick. We don't know shit about Pokemon Sleep, so I don't...
They went into a whole-ass coma.
Yeah, I know. It's so Uzi says no, hopefully not. Take your time. And what are your thoughts on Gen 9? Yes or no?
For similar reasons, I do not think it'll come out next year. I think that obviously they have a Legends game coming out in January. Then Splatoon will probably come out in like March or April. Zelda will be like the holiday title probably. I just feel like that would be too much successfulness, if that makes sense. Like too many first-party titles for them next year. And if they did a 9th generation next year, I mean, yeah, they could add more stuff later, like maybe another game, but I don't know. It just feels like it would be cramming a lot into 1 year.
Well, and if Legends of Arceus is what we hope it is, then we should have enough playability throughout next year to really just enjoy that game and think to ourselves, okay, like this was a good game. So hopefully that's the case. But yeah, we have BDSP if you're into that, or if that's something that you're actually going to play.
I guess it's also possible that on Pokemon Next Day they could reveal it, but maybe it comes out early 23. But I'm just throwing that out there.
I don't think they would ever. Yeah, I think one thing that we can all agree on is that they're never going to release a Pokemon game for the holiday.
Yeah.
Like there's no like if they are definitely making a new Pokemon game at the end of next year. There's no like even if Zelda is coming out, it's gonna be, which is why I think like maybe a new Let's Go game or like even DLC for Arceus, which is like, or BDSP, like they could do, like that's what I'm saying, like they could do fucking anything, but there is going to be something. I can confirm that.
I think the higher likelihood is DLC. For sure, in some format, whatever that is. If it's Legends of Arceus or if it's BDSP, I think DLC is definitely the route that they're going for next year. But okay, yeah, cool, man. So this was obviously a lot of fun. I hope everyone listening thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Just want to thank you guys. I know it's really late to where you guys are, especially for Uzi. So I definitely appreciate you guys' time. Yeah, so I can't thank you guys enough for doing this, and it's a lot of fun. I look forward to having you guys on future episodes for sure. This episode's going to be loaded on July 16th. That'll be on a Friday, so you guys can catch it 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Time, and that'll be when it's uploaded. We'll have it on YouTube, and I'm going to try to Spotify. So again, thank you guys for listening. Thank my guests here for everything that you guys were able to do and contribute, and we will see you on the next episode. So say bye, guys. Bye.
You guys, thanks.
Bye.